Well, all right. We'll just do a very quick introduction. Hello. We met 20 years ago, and we
Stonehenge.
knew we were going to meet before we met, and we had lots of guidance and things going on. So I picked her up, and we went straight to Stonehenge. That was our first meeting. We sang to the Stones in the middle of Stonehenge, and then we spent the weekend together in Winchester, working with Sacred Sound. And so we've been on this amazing journey ever since. So 20 years of madness, really. We've been to so many places, and the guidance has been incredible when we've gone to places and things. And yeah, we love it. It's great. It's just the synchronicities are just astounding. So every time
Mm.
anybody mentions a place, we've usually just been or we're just going. So yeah, it's great.
So, whilst our main focus is sound, we're also passionate about water. And we've actually been water and singing to water for 20 years as well. And also, uh, we'll share a bit of our water healing journey with you as well. So, if it's okay, I'm going to start sharing the screen. I hope, well, it's not quite come up yet. There we go. That's right. Yep. And that's it. No, it's not letting me do that now. Let me just try it again.
Different picture.
Yeah, that's right. I'll try again. That's it. Okay, come on. That's it. There we go. That's it. Right. Okay, can everyone see that? Yep. Yes, you can see. Just thumbs up. Yep.
Right.
Okay. All right then. So thank you very much, Robert, for inviting us. So what we're going to be talking tonight is about water consciousness. And what we're specifically going to be looking at is using sound and intention with water, sharing some of our experiences and also practical tools for working with water consciousness, sharing some of the latest research and resources on vitalizing water, and also connecting with the consciousness specifically of the River Marden and giving it voice. And here are a few water facts that I'm sure you're all aware of, but it's just good to remind ourselves. 71% of the Earth's surface is covered in water. And depending on stage of life, you contain up to around 70% of water. However, at a molecular level, we are around 99% water. And it is the only substance which exists as solid, liquid, gas. Now Gerald Pollack is talking about plasma, and we're going to be going into that in more detail. It's this state between the liquid state and ice, which is particularly interesting in terms of water memory and water consciousness.
So we're just sort of jump into how I got into working with water. I was because the synchronicities are always interesting in how things work for us. And I just mentioned that earlier, so I'll just mention this one. So I've been a vortex healer for about 2 years at this stage, and I've been working with Rick Moyman from America, and this is the group I was with on one of the courses I did with him, and I was to go on the next course with him, and he said, "Look, I found out this where it's a course on working with water." And I said, well, I'm booked on the next Vortex course and I'm going to be doing that. And so she said, okay, but I think you should just look and see what you think of the program. And my heart just said, no, we're doing this. So I had to cancel the next course, and I've never done one since, interestingly enough. So it was a complete shift in life, literally from one flyer. And so then we went off and did the work with the lady in the middle, Liliana Corridor, who was in the front row. And she was an astounding woman, way ahead of her time. And
Yep. And she's got like 5 different degrees in different marine sciences, but she's also very plugged into otherworldly things as well. So um, this David actually found the original flyer the other day. So what's where she was basically coming from? This was like a weekend retreat, and her main thesis is if we can actually clear the waterways within us and water ourselves as water bodies, we can be of much greater service to water elsewhere. So this is an amazing book. Sadly, it's out of print, but basically, where she's coming from is saying that everything that we emit, whether it's thoughts, emotions, words, actions, whether they're love or fear based, anchors in what's called the water matrix of our bodies. And this also affects what's called the planetary water matrix. And we haven't got time, unfortunately, to go into it on this presentation, but she's got some really detailed diagrams of how individually our energy centres interact with planetary centres, and there are etheric waterways going through from the planet to beyond. And obviously, therefore, we're affecting the state of health of our planet as well as that of our own bodies. So those are really the key central points of Liliana Corridor's work. So, and that really inspired us then from actually committing ourselves to serving water. And but our next major step was a figure that is well known to, I guess, many of you, and it's Dr. Masaru Emoto. Now, this is the very first edition, and I remember getting this, and it's in the original in Japanese and in English, and I was so excited. I can't remember, because in those days this was long before sort of like social media and things like that. So I think I got a handwritten letter from Mrs. Emoto with the book. It was really sweet. But I remember reading this, and it just totally changed my life.
yeah, and Bea had one of the first copies in the country as well. So when we found out that he was going to be coming to London and he'd be doing a big talk in central London, um, we said, well, we've got to go to that, and we like to try and get most places as early as we can, and we managed to get seats right at the front, so we were probably only 2 rows from the front, and so Masaru Emoto said that he wanted somebody from the audience to take pictures of the event, which would then be passed on to him, and he would post them. So out of all the people, there was about 600, maybe more.
Yeah, St James's in Piccadilly, so it's a huge place. Yeah,
and it was packed, and he picked me. So I took the pictures of the event, and ever since I got a digital camera, I was taking pictures of orbs. So I would have these like orbs of light floating around everywhere, and so we when I took the pictures, you can see in the top left-hand corner and things. There's all these orbs there, and it's like they'd all come to watch the event to see him doing his presentation on water, which I thought was quite amusing. There was I've got lots of pictures all around the space, and you can see this energy in the room as well. did go up to his wife after the event, and I showed her the pictures, but they didn't know what orbs were. And when we sent the pictures to them, they decided not to use them, so they never had any pictures of the event. But anyway, I'll move on to the next slide.
So it was actually seeing these crystals that really, yeah, they affected me profoundly. So basically, Masaru Emoto, if you're not familiar with what he did, he found a way, he had laboratories in Japan, and he found a way of freezing water so that with sound and intention, and coming up with these absolutely exquisite crystals, really amazing, if they were positive in their intent. And as you can see, if you've got things like I hate you, you make me sick, that kind of thing, they refused to actually crystallize. And that really shook me, because I thought, well, not only in terms of what we say to other people, but also when we actually are say to ourselves, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, what are we actually doing to ourselves as water bodies? So that really affected me quite deeply. And then this is also in the book, where you see this was a very polluted lake, Fujiwara Dam in Japan, and it wouldn't crystallize at all. But a Buddhist priest came and chanted over the waters, and that was the result of the water after the prayer. And this isn't just a one off, this has been replicated time and time again, and really does show the power of sound and intent with water.
So we found out that he was coming to Bristol in 2013, and so we didn't want to miss that event either, and we were right at the front once again. And so we managed to be able to sort of get to see him and everything. So I was wearing my dragon shirt for that one. And so this gives you an idea of the people that were there and things. A lot smaller event than the one in London, but still
packed,
still packed. Every seat was taken, and yeah, it was a really good event. He had some new things to explain about working with water as well, so that was really good.
So one of the things he set up was what's called Thank Water Day. It's the 25th of July each year. And here we are at the, celebrations at the Chalice Well in 2014. It was a very moving ceremony where people brought in samples of sacred water or water samples from people's homes or sacred sites around the world, and it was put as an offering to the wellhead. So very, very beautiful. But we'll talk a bit more about the kind of wording around Thank Water Day a bit later. So we'd come across Veda Austin's work a few years ago, but when we found out last year that she was coming to Devon Dowsers, and again to this day I don't know quite how I found out how she was coming to Devon Dowsers, but anyway, we found out and thought, right, that's it, we're definitely going to Exeter to see her. Now, Veda Austin is an extraordinary woman, and she's taken up the mantle where Masaru Emoto left off. And what she's providing is a method of actually forming ice crystals, which anyone can do. And we'll show a few of the water crystals that we've come up with using her methodology. But here you see in these pictures, she did a live demonstration using water in the church building where she was demonstrating this, and also happened to handily have a freezer as well. She's got there a glass petri dish. It's about 90 millimeters diameter. You just put a couple of tablespoons of the water, and you leave it to freeze for about 5 minutes. Depending on the kind of freezer you've got, It may take a little bit more time, but basically what you're looking for is to have basically a little layer of water, and then you can pour that or put that to one side, revealing the crystals behind. Do you want to
So,
say?
so all the pictures that are there I took, and I did take a lot of pictures on the day. I went up and talked to her about doing that, and she said that she was really happy for me to do it. And I was the only one person there that was actually interested in doing anything like that. And I asked her about doing a recording of it as well, and the Devon Dowsers said, "Oh, we don't do that sort of thing," which I thought was astounding, really, because this is the only event she was doing in the UK, and they didn't want it recorded.
But we just had an immediate connection with her. It was like when we saw her, she just came up. We never met her before. She
Yeah,
just
she just walked straight up to us and gave us both a big hug.
yeah,
So that was really lovely. We felt like we were family
yeah,
right as soon as we walked in the door.
definitely. So what we're going to do is share some of the crystal images that we've got using her method. And I love this quote from her. And again, water is not a resource; it is source. And the more you work with water, the more you realise just how much water is trying to teach us and communicate with us. And I just love what she says there. And so you can see on the left hand side here these fern like shapes. These are sort of hexagonal shapes, and they're called hydroglyphs. And like hieroglyphs, but water is actually trying to communicate with us in various symbols. And what Veda's found is that through repeating a number of, she doesn't like to call them experiments, various communications with water, she's found out that there are various meanings. Um, so that's basically what these are. They're symbols in ice that can have more than one meaning. However, the same image appears after the same written word is used at least 50 times, so you know what the key meaning is going to be. Now, this one is called what's known as the fern hexagon hydroglyph. It was just taken from rainwater from the butt in the garden. And what Veda says about the hexagon is the blueprint pattern of water in its optimum energetic state of health. And one of the things that Robert was asking us was about the vitalization of water and how our rivers have become so degraded. So,
Yeah, so we were asked to do a talk at Avebury for an all-day conference, and so when we came on, we discussed it, and it was quite amazing, really, because the room that it was in, they had a freezer in the room. And if you think about how many events you've been to and how many had a freezer in the room, I think you'll find that it's pretty well zero. And we thought, right, we're going to use the freezer and we're going to get some water and actually do a live thing while we were there. So Bea called up the other speakers, and we all stood at the front and we all focused our energies on the water. And so this was the result. And so we'll zoom and show a few bits in a second. So what we were saying was, at the whole run, we had everybody saying, love, thanks, and respect to water. Water, we love you. Water, we thank you. And water, we respect you. And people were like holding their hands up towards this petri dish with the water in it. And then we put it in the freezer. When it was time to take it out, we took it out and took a picture of it. So after our talk, there was the next speaker came on, and Bea uploaded the picture and then put it on the screen. And bear in mind the words that we used. You can see the heart shape in the middle of the the dish.
Yeah, so this is known as the heart hydroglyph, and the obvious meaning is love. And these words of love, thanks, and respect to the water, they've come from Masaru Emoto. And I think the key aspect as well is this respect, and what we see is not a great deal of respect to water or water bodies. So, and it's amazing. It seems so simple, but we found it so profound. So we often use tap water as a control, because tap water typically shows, that the various chemicals that are in it. Usually shows, you can see here, there's no particular kind of crystalline patterns or hydroglyphs. It's usually looking quite chaotic. So this is just from our kitchen tap in Weston-super-Mare. So there's nothing there particularly. So we were invited to do a presentation to a local group here. And we thought, well, it'll be interesting because Veda has done a lot of work on influencing by showing pictures and things like that, and seeing what water was communicating with various pictures. And we thought, well, we've got a postcard of Weston-super-Mare. Let's just place the petri dish over Weston-super-Mare and let's just see what happens. So, you want to say?
Did we do a blessing related to the event as well on the water? I can't remember now. We've done so many of these.
We just, not a specific blessing, no. We just wanted to ask water for any message about Weston-super-Mare.
It was about Weston-super-Mare, and what was the energies of Weston-super-Mare? What messages could it give to us?
The messages for Weston-super-Mare, right?
For the group. That's right.
So you can see that it's changed, but actually, until we actually zoom in, you can see quite just how it's changed just with asking those messages. And I'm going to actually zoom in again more, but I just want to draw your attention to these certain shapes. There's lots of stars here, which I've highlighted here. And this is one, so there's quite a few here, and it's called the empty star hydroglyph, which means imagination and dreams. But the thing that really gobsmacked us was this, and you can see this here. And what, David, do you want to say?
So we realised that the water was trying to actually copy what was written on the card. so it was trying to write Weston-super-Mare in the water. I was absolutely amazed. So I actually took from the card the words, cut it out, and placed it underneath the shapes that the water had actually made.
Mm.
So to give an idea, I mean, Veda's work, we've seen a lot of her work online and in person, and some of what she gets is so extraordinary that you think, well, I've got to sit up and listen to this because it's very, very important.
And this slide is actually one of hers. It was part of a poster, a flyer for her Exeter event, which is coming up, which has been sold out now for several weeks. But this again is just illustrating how water is communicating with us. So just by placing a sunflower seed in this petri dish just for 30 seconds, this is what resulted. So as you can see quite clearly, it's showing a sunflower shape. So we're very excited because we're going to go and see her in Exeter, because she's going to be talking about water memory and transference in Exeter.
And this was about potential.
Yes.
So you've got the seed, and the potential of the seed is the sunflower.
Yeah.
So the water knew the potential and showed it.
And if, just in case you hadn't heard, Veda is coming to Chalice Well on the 12th of October, and this will be a slightly different talk, and it's only the Exeter event is an all-day event, but this is just an evening event, but obviously in the beautiful grounds of the Chalice Well Gardens, and she's going to be talking about the ancient mysteries there. So if you just look up on the Chalice Well under events, I think there are still some tickets left. So
And yeah, we're guided to go to both.
well, we thought
even though we said
we did
we're
leave
not going to
it.
go to this one because we're already going to Exeter and we've seen it before as well. But
Yeah.
they wouldn't let us do that, so we have to go to the Chalice Well also. I mean, obviously, the Chalice Well is very special because it's got the sacred water there flowing through, so it's a perfect place to work with water. And so we're going to switch subjects slightly now, and we're going to talk about a man who was a speaker at one of the events, the National Dowsing Conference that we were speakers at. And when we met him, when we were doing a talk in Troll, um, I walked straight up to him and I was amazed at what he was doing with his work. So we'll just go to a picture of that now.
We thought this also tied in nicely with the tree project in the Avon that you're also associated with.
So the picture on the right is actually what really interested me when we arrived at Troll. This was in the middle, and so these are special sticks that are worked on by Gordon, and the middle one, the one that stood up, is like the master one, which communicates to all the rest and the network of trees throughout the planet. And Gordon listen to the trees, and the trees literally are dictating books to him at the moment. So it is quite astounding what he's doing. So when we were at the conference, um, he gifted us a stick each as guardians, and he said, "I want you to do is wherever you go, I want you to take those sticks and connect with the trees, and so the trees can communicate through the sticks and get the information from the rest of the network." And what they would do is every time that they call a meeting at Troll, he brings the sticks out, and all the sticks of all of the guardians of the sticks, they all are put like a fan around on the floor at the bottom. There's only a few there on when the picture was taken, because that's literally not a few minutes after we arrived, and a lot of the people hadn't arrived yet. So by the by the start of the talk that we did, it was completely surrounded by all this fanning out in all the directions.
And the sticks are made of hazelwood. And the interesting thing is that when Gordon is finishing off the preparation of them, he takes them to a nearby stream, and he bathes the sticks in the water so that they can connect to the waters as well.
Yeah. So we just went to one of the sources of the Thames, and it's Seven Springs, and so we took sticks with us. And so I said, we took this. This is only last week.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, this is last week, and so we thought we'd put this in because obviously we're interested in sources of water, and then we went down to Seven Springs. It hadn't rained much at the time, so it was a little bit sort of. I mean, it was flowing, but it wasn't flowing very much. So this is from the opposite angle, and you can see the water there. So when we woman called out about, are we going to do a ceremony? I mean, you know,
From a
just
burger
sort of
van.
from a burger van. And so I went over and started talking to her, and she said, "Well, actually, I'm the guardian of the spring." And she said, "I've been the guardian for 18 years, and I had to move house to live at the top of the hill. I've got a well in my garden, and I work with the water all the time." And she said, "I see lots of ceremonies." She said, "Clean the area out because a lot of dump things, as which is another part of what this talk about. Well, she clears it out and makes sure that everything's pristine. She's there, but if I hadn't gone over and started talking to her, I wouldn't have known any of that. And well, I've got lots of pictures of the history of the space. She gave one to me, which is over 100 years old. Uh,
Pioneer of water consciousness, who's doing amazing work. And some of you may have seen this interview between is quite an video. So if you have now fish, um, great ability and to waters and revive. This is just water. And so he's coming at it from a number of different angles. So he's a scientist, but he's also very sensitive to nature, and he's come up with a number of different ideas about how to actually clean the oceans in a very practical way. He's also got really clear intention and is calling on people to actually have or a collective intention for clear, pure water in every body of water on the planet, and available to everyone. And this, I wrote to him recently, and this was the what he does is he says, if you have a body of water that you would like a particular focus and intention, is to send him a sample of that water to him. He's based in New Mexico in the States. And what will happen is he uses a combination of group meditation, focused intent, but then he also uses things like radionics and scalar waves to amplify the effect of that collective intent. So we thought we'd mention it here because he's actually doing some amazing work in terms of revitalizing water in that way. And another incredible pioneer of water research who we came across through Veda. We watched a couple of her masterclasses online, and that they are marathon things, aren't they? They go
11
on.
hours.
They go on forever. We don't we don't watch them live because I mean most of them are in the night. But no, the person we wanted, I know Robert, you've come across her work, but is Isabel Friend, and we just wanted to draw your attention to her website, waterislife.love. It has an absolutely phenomenal resources section, um, and including for ourselves, it's the Guardianship Water Workbook. And what it is about, it's about how can we be of service. It's easy to get depressed and downhearted about what is actually happening to a lot of our environment. And this workbook basically is to help you process a lot of your personal stuff around that, but also how can you then convert that into efficacy. Um, she has, and it's interesting, we're talking about the River Marden's rights, and I think, well, I don't know, you may have got this, I picked this up from this guide, and it is the Universal Declaration on the Rights of Rivers, which is an amazing document. And the key tenet of this, so this is an international declaration. So it says that rivers are living entities and entitled to fundamental rights and entitled to legal guardians. And these rights extend to the health of watersheds and river basins. And this is also very important for Indigenous, and Isabel goes into this in much more detail. And this also ties in with Veda's, water is not just simply a resource that you could just use up and maltreat. This is also about, if you look at all Indigenous communities, water is sacred, it's fundamental to their belief systems. And basically, if you actually treat water correctly, water will also reciprocate. So I thought I'd just share that with you. You can get that on the rights of, if you haven't seen this before, the rightsofrivers.org. So Isabel not only goes into what you can do practically, she also talks about, there's another huge bit in the resource section about different types of drinking water. She's got a phenomenal checklist and guides to different filtration systems, you name it. She's done so much research on this and doing blessings. So we'd mention that to you.
In 2004, we'd been to an event where Koala was a presenter and a speaker, and in London, and she was booked to do an event local to us for a weekend, and so we went to that event, and she was gave a lot of guidance of how people's lives would move forward. And interestingly, she said, "Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a reading for everybody in the room." And I think there was about 26 to 30 people in there, and she was going around sort of saying, "Right, what you're going to do with your life is this, this, and this. And you're going to write all these books and stuff." And I thought, in 2004, I was quite a different sort of person, even though um, I was being guided to do all these different things. But so I thought, well, what's mine going to be? Because I'm not writing any books. And so she said, well, you're going to work with sound. And at the time, I had no idea that that's what my focus would be for pretty well the rest of my life. So it was, and she was really emphatic about it as well. She said it about 7 times, and then when she got to B, she said, "Yours is the breath." So I'm the sound and she's the breath. So it's quite interesting. Uh, uh, Everybody else was writing books, and they would be guiding things. Anyway, moving forward to, I can't remember, that was 11, wasn't it? Yeah, 2010. In 2010, she was in in London where she was, and so cards representing their tools. And he was traveling around the world doing different cities. And then she said, well, um, there's one thing that, well, she gave a list of a few things that she wanted to people to be able to work with. One of them was the vault, and she said, I people who could clear in the energy. Um, so raise and uh, these others are see. So well, we went up to London, and this is at a later date. We went up to London, and we said that we uh, we we were going to stay over a couple of days. We're going to meet a few friends. We're going to an event on a boat. It was an Angel Day event, and we would be singing there and doing different things. And we did a tune in to find out if there was anything that we needed to do before we got on the cruise. And he said, well, we're going to be doing a Buddha bath ceremony on the ship in each port. And I said, well, I don't know how we're going to do that because we haven't got a Buddha. But anyway, so um, so to give you an idea what a Buddha bath ceremony is, we've been to the Heart Shrine Relic Tour, which was we went, I think it was about 2009, and
London,
yeah, in London, and the the thing that really got us was doing this water ceremony, and we found it very powerful. You say specific words, and then you pour this sacred water over the top of the Buddha statue, and so this tour came back to England in 2012, and an event in Glastonbury. So we went to that, and we ended up because it ran for a few days, but we wanted to go to the opening of it, and the mayor was there and lots of dignitaries and stuff, and very it was very energetic event. We were told we couldn't go in and things, all sorts of stuff, but we got in anyway. We ended up in the front row. So uh, we knew we had to do this Buddha bath ceremony. Oh, and this particular one where you can see these images and stuff, um, that ended up going on YouTube. So I made the video, and there's a soundtrack little thing to go with it and stuff. And we spoke to the Heart Shrine Relic Tour people, and they loved it and said, "Great, you can put it on and everything." So it's actually on YouTube if you want to see it. So anyway, we get on this island, and we don't have a Buddha statue or anything, and so the organizer, between the two ladies, Bea and yeah, Brian is the organizer, and so he said, "Well, I'm going to have a raffle, and we'll have a few prizes and stuff, and they'll all be in this little cabinet. It's houseboat on, and on the Thames, and so we got our tickets and everything, and when we when the tickets were being drawn and everything, it came to, I think it was the third one, and I got this voice said to me, "Well, you've got the winning ticket," and I had 5 tickets. So it told me which number it was, and so I tore that ticket out and then held it up in the air, and then they put their hand in the basket and pulled out the same ticket. And I'm already holding it in the air, and I said, "Well, this is the ticket." And so everybody looked at me in like shock because nobody expected that you already knew which ticket was the winner. And so I went to the cabinet, and in the cabinet was was the Buddha, and so that was an image that was taken on the day. There was other people in the image, but this it wasn't just a picture of me smiling. But so that was explained to everybody else that in 2 days' time we're going to be doing a cruise around the Baltic Sea, and we were guided. We had to have a Buddha bath ceremony in each port, and this is the Buddha, and so they were all like absolutely amazed. So this is actually the Buddha on the ship when we were going around each port. Now I want to show a couple of images, another cruise that we did later on, because we were asked to work with the sea instead of the ports, and so I want to draw your attention to the time and everything. So we we used crystals and rose petals from ceremonies that we'd been to before.
And also a combination of white spring water with chalice well water. That's what's in that bottle.
Yeah, that's what's in the bottle. So we'd already into that bottle, and we sprayed it onto the crystal as a gift to the sea. And so that's 1627-08. And 1628-56, we're about to gift it to the sea. And as we're doing that, we say a few words and give thanks for the waters and everything. And we gave thanks to the whales, the dolphins, and the cetaceans as well. And then we gifted it into the sea. So that's 1628-56. And at 1632, the dolphins went by. So they actually swam past our side of the ship, and that is actually one of the dolphins jumping out of the water in front of me. So in effect, we're about 10 stories up, and I'm using a pocket camera, and I still managed to get that picture because they wanted us to have it. We could use it. So there was about 20 dolphins went by. They only went by the ship once, and it went on whip, and it had to be after we gifted the crystal and the rose petals and everything, so that it all it shows that they were reacting to our gift.
Okay, and this is just we did a presentation. It was during one of the lockdowns, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we did an online presentation on the Buddha bath ceremonies. Okay, right then. So that's the end of our formal presentation. Okay. So
4 minutes to spare.
there we go. So
Wow, we want 4 more minutes. So for me, this is totally, absolutely wonderful, and I'm a paid up member of this community that you're describing. But in terms of questions, Kate, go on. You're doing something on Friday, I think. Would you like to ask a question to Bea and to David? You're on mute, Kate, I think.
I don't have any immediate question except just to thank you for that wealth of information. I mean, it's phenomenal, all the different experiences. And I think what's really striking is that exchange of energies, you know, when we give thanks or offer our love, it's what comes back, and it's wonderful to see that tangible evidence of the dolphins, or you know, the different shapes of the crystals. It's beautiful work. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in person.
Oh, thank you for saying that. And the interesting thing, this will probably be a talk. We could talk about all sorts of different things, but the idea of reciprocity was really brought home to a wonderful woman. You may have known her, Danu Fox, was a singer based down in Cornwall, to get gatherings of people, and she would be so strong about, she would describe herself as an earth singer. And so she would sing praises to the land. It's like our indigenous tradition of the perpetual songline tradition as well, where we would chant to the land in order for the land to actually bathe us in its abundance, and chant to the land in order to enchant it, so that we could actually preserve harmony, throughout the land. So this goes back thousands of years. But no, this is really important feature of our work. But I think the other thing was that I was also reminded today, things like this is just our personal experiences. There's groups like the fountain groups, and by focusing again with groups, focusing on like the fountain, like in Brighton, they've had group meditations there. They actually went to things like police records, hospitals. They actually saw a decrease in hospital admissions. They saw a decrease in crime because of consistent. And this is why we're sort of saying that this sound and intention is really important. Whether it's sung or whether it's said, it's really, really important.
Thank you. I do have a question for you, actually. We're mentioning, because Robert and I were talking about, singing a song. So last time, everybody was singing the river is flowing, which I love. But I would love it. I really hope that you're going to bring a song or two, because that would be amazing.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, no, it's a lovely one, that one. Yeah,
I'm sure you've got a lot that it'd be wonderful if you feel that to share. It would be amazing. Yeah,
it'll be an honor to do that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask Tara Castle if you have a question, please?
I do have a question, actually. Thank you for your talk. It was really interesting. It's the first time I've heard anything like this, so I'm a bit of a novice, and I might be asking an ignorant question or something I haven't really understood. But quite early on, you talked about a polluted lake, and I think it was a Buddhist prayer that was said over this lake, and the lake wouldn't crystallize, and then it did crystallize after the prayer. Have I understood that right? And did that mean it was then a clean lake?
Yes.
It was a clean.
It actually cleaned up as well. So not only did it was a polluted lake, and it refused. They took water samples before the prayer, and then they took water samples after.
Yeah.
But also allegedly the water's actually cleared in the lake as well.
So could you clear the River Marden then with your prayers? I just simplifying things too much. I don't. Yeah. I mean,
no pressure.
Ordinary. Yeah, I know. Sorry, it's a big ask. I know, but I'm sure Robert would be very happy.
We'll certainly give it a go.
Yeah, I think it's about the group and things as well. It's not just about what we do; it's what everybody does and what their intention is, things like that. But on the other hand, you don't need a lot of people, because this was only one man doing this, and a lot of people watched him, but it was only one man did it. So,
and I think the thing is as well, it's all the associated activities. So, say for example, you go to a river, you give your love, your thanks and respect to that river. Actually mentioning in various media, well, isn't it about time we did something about River Marden? Isn't it disgusting that there's fly tipping going on? So, what you find with these things, it may not sort of like clear the waters immediately, like as dramatically as in that Japanese case. But what you find is that more attention and people become more aware. And I think that's one of the most important things, because if we can get so many people are just unaware, simply unaware of
Yeah.
just how important these rivers are. I mean, we were doing a house sit last week just northeast of Swindon, and it was really interesting because we were talking to a shop owner, and he was saying about how his basement got flooded. Why? Because there had been a massive tree just down the street, which actually there was a stream and there was a well linked with it, but the tree was actually regulating the amount of water. And because the tree had been chopped down and had nowhere for this water to go, then the basement had flooded. And I thought, well, this is really interesting that he's sharing this with us. You know, I was just saying, oh, it's so nice to see your shop open again. And he just volunteered that. And so I think when people are actually getting more aware of the interconnectedness of all these things, and not, I mean, I've always been passionate about nature anyway, but it's one of those things that, you know, we are those bodies of water as well, and we need to actually respect our bodies of water as well as the bodies of water outside us as well. But we can certainly, it's interesting because with the Bristol Avon, you probably think we're nuts, but every time we go up the M5, going over the Avon, we tone Avon. You know, we sing to the river, we sing to all the rivers, you know, wherever we go, everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Just so we can...
Sometimes there's people in the back of the car and they don't know what the hell's going on, and they'll say, why did you do that? And we said, well, we always give thanks for the waters everywhere we go, and you don't have to stop the car. I mean, obviously we're on a motorway. You don't have to stop the car or anything. You just do it. It's automatic, and because of it, I think we live in a different world. It's a world of synchronicity, and all sorts of amazing things happen. Like when we went to the Seven Springs, and literally the lady just called out to me, "Are you going to do a ceremony?" I mean, you know, I was dressed perfectly normally. I wasn't wearing anything unusual or anything like that, and everybody else was just going to buy a burger. I didn't even go near the burger van, you know, to start with. I was parked quite a distance away. She had to shout right down to me, but it was like she knew there was something going to happen, and then she shared all this history with me, and how she actually said to me, "I drink the water. My son came from London, who came to stay with me because she hadn't lived in that house before. He came to stay with her, and she said he started drinking the water, and he felt completely different. It was like it was healing him."
And that water was so beautiful.
And it was beautiful.
Really
and so
sweet.
After she said that to me, I had some bottles of water with me, and I just tipped them out and then filled it up with the water from the spring. And we shared them over the next couple of days to make sure that we both got to drink the water.
Yeah.
I love the story. Great. Lizzie, are you still on the call? Can you hear? Would you like to ask any questions to Bea and David? Can you hear, Lizzie? No. Okay. Oh.
No, she's coming back.
Lizzie, do you want to ask a question to Bea and David?
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Hello.
Do you want to ask a question, Lizzie, to Bea and David, or David?
The sound's not. I'm not hearing.
Can't hear anything. Oh, it's on mute again.
Maybe something.
Yeah, sometimes if people wear headphones, then.
I'll have you up there.
Maybe turn up the volume.
Oh, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Oh.
I don't know if I can do anything from my end. No, you need to turn up your volume, Lizzie. No, not working, is that?
It's
It's next on the left-hand side at the bottom. It's got me next to that. There's an arrow. You go to the bottom one, which is audio settings, and then you've got microphone
Well, it's
about a third of the way down, and you slide it to the right.
We'll try chat. Can you see chat?
yeah.
You write comments into the chat then, Lizzie.
I think I nearly got something. No,
Oh,
just mine.
Oh, Kate, can if you before you go away? Oh, she's gone away as well.
Nope.
Kate,
Please.
she's gone away.
Hi, yeah. Hang on. There we are.
You know, on the Sunday to the source of the River Marden. You know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because I've been drinking water from the source of the River Marden. You see what it's done to my hair.
We should do that for me.
well, we'll be in Chur Hill on Sunday.
Will you?
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
Ah.
Well, if you tell me what you're doing there, I'll invite you to what's happening on Sunday.
Well, we thought we'd open, see what the universe would deliver. So we're going to be in Avebury
On a Saturday.
on the Saturday morning. We've been invited to a number of events during the day on the equinox day on Saturday, but we are staying overnight in Chur Hill on Saturday night. So
Yeah,
I could
so then
invite.
we could
I
actually
invite you to
do something directly. Yeah.
Calston. It's roughly a mile from Cheryl. St Mary's Church.
Oh no, really? Oh, I'm going goosebumpy. Yeah.
Right, all right, look, that's
okay.
good. St Mary's Church at 2:00. We're meeting with Kate's going to be there, and some other people, and the bishop's going to be there.
Okay. So,
water as well.
Yeah, 2:00. CALSTON. I'll
Yeah,
mail
got
you
it.
tomorrow. 2:00.
Yeah.
There's a church and there's a car park
Okay.
outside the church.
Yeah.
Well, it seems that we're going to be in the area, so I mean,
These things, people are like shocked when they realise that the
because we could have come
synchronicities are
home.
so exact
Mm.
that you just think, wait, and things like that. It's the same. It's the same on the Friday. I mean, we're literally driving. We're going to be driving along the M4 anyway. And then when we looked at because I said, well, it's just off the M4 where we're going to be going. So yeah, literally, we have this a lot. We have this, and it's really interesting.
Logically, we should have come home on Saturday night, but
Yeah.
our guidance was no. We
No, we
needed
got
to
booked
stay.
extra night, but we don't know why. But we don't worry about it because
Well,
things
I can tell you why now. Bring some glass bottles, empty glass bottles as well.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And your hair, David, will look like mine the day after.
If you can do that, we can take a screenshot and then say, right, okay, this is what it's going to look.
Oh dear, that's brilliant. But that's really interesting because we're part, Rory Duff. We're part of various groups with Rory doing energetic remote work, and we keep seeing sources of rivers in our meditation. And bearing in mind that these locations, the one specific location is nowhere near a river, and yet we keep getting these messages, you've got to go to the sources. And there's this play on source, the source of the river, but water is also source, and things like that. So and to be the source of one of the sources of the River Thames, we've been doing lots of work with like the Kennets. We did the Windrush, some of the other tributaries of the Thames last 2 weeks as well. So it seems like the Thames and the Avon are very mindful as well of the Marden flowing into the Avon as well. So
Yeah, we
yeah,
do quite a lot to do with the Thames at the moment,
yeah,
and yeah, we're going to be working on that now for at least a couple of months.
yeah.
Well, the way we go, we're going to be sick of each other on Sunday, aren't we?
Oh dear. Oh,
No,
okay.
we keep meeting up with people. We're going to be in Exeter meeting up with some people that we only met for the first time in a field when we were speakers at another event. And they came up and they said, we actually love what you were doing and everything. And we just got really good friends. And and Sunday.
Mm.
And they said, oh, we're coming to Exeter because of you. So they're going to Veda's event there.
Mm.
And I think they're going to meet us in London as well and
Yeah.
do some other work with us.
Mm.
So it's amazing how all the synchronicities work together.
It's all unfolding perfectly.
But one of the really good ones with water, I think we've got 1 minute left, so
Yeah.
squeeze it in. Was one of the interesting ones for me was we we went to talk in Bristol, and the speaker didn't turn up because he'd been asked to go to America to talk about making a movie, and somebody else stood in, and it was John Gibson 40. 2.5 years research on the perpetual choirs, yeah. And particularly the Western Perpetual Choir, which is centred around Malvern. And so he's talking about literally a decagon, a grid that is energised by singing and is historically sort of recorded. And so I went up to him and I said, that was a brilliant talk. I want you to take us to the centre point of this decagon and some of the energy points, and a lot of it's in churches and things like that. So anyway, we agreed a date and we went with him and we booked an extra night's accommodation in Malvern, and we didn't know where it was or anything. We just booked this night. And so when we got there, we spent the day with him and everything. And we reached in Malvern, and he took us to one of the water sources there, one of the wells. And then Bea said, "We've got to go somewhere else now." And I thought, well, I wanted to spend time with him because he spent all this research and everything, and I was really interested in the park. And there was a stall there, and this woman was at the stall.
Yeah.
And Bea went straight up to her and said, "Right, what are you doing?" And this woman said, "Well, I'm going to do an event all day tomorrow, and we're going to go to Severn, the sacred well in Malvern.
And it was a water pilgrimage.
Water pilgrimage, and we would do at each one, and each one would be like a blessing of your feet and your hands and your eyes, sort of thing. So, and it's right next to one of these wells. It's literally opposite the well. Going around all these sites and everything, and somebody filmed it, and it's absolutely brilliant. And all these people came from all over the world and just turned up for one well, and they would do something. So they would come in and they would go, "Well, I'll do a Sufi blessing or something like this," and and then the next one would be from India, and they would do an Indian blessing or something like that, or a Peruvian people. And we're like, this is mad, because we weren't supposed to be there at all. We hadn't booked to do anything like that, and everything was in alignment.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe how she tracks people down. It's just like it's like a bloodhound or something. In fact, Rory Duff calls her guidance, her intuition is like an Exocet missile. That's what Rory Duff says. Because she goes,
No question
Break.
now.
That's a
Yeah.
complimentary heading.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
is this piquing your curiosity? Would you like to see you and Matt on Friday or Sunday? Or have you had enough now?
I'm sorry, me. Sorry.
Yeah, Tara. There's only one Tara here. Hello, Tara.
No, my internet's a bit cracking up. What was there
Oh.
an invitation to something on Friday? Did you say?
I was saying, would you like to join us on either Friday or Sunday? Matt's very welcome on Sunday. If you
Very
join
kind
us.
of you. I'm away at the weekend though. Sorry.
Oh, Tara.
Prior
Oh,
engagement.
Oh.
And it's true. I can show you my diary.
no.
Very
No,
sad.
that's all right.
we believe you.
No,
So you'll
no,
tell me
it's
all
really
about it,
interesting
though.
because if it's meant to be,
What
Yeah,
are you going
if
to
it's
miss
yeah,
out
if
on?
it's meant to be, it'll happen.
Yeah, well, you
So
never
maybe
know.
next time.
My plans might change. Or next time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to miss out on seeing David's hair sprouting as soon
Yeah,
as
why did you do that?
the source of the River Marden.
Yeah, well,
Oh
I'll
dear.
bring a wig.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody.
No, thank you very much for inviting us.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to seeing you on Friday and
11
also
o'clock in
on
King Park.
Sunday.
Yeah, I'll write them down. I'll send it to you tomorrow with the postcodes. So
That's wonderful.
you have
Thank you.
everything. Okay.
No, thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
So, and
Thank you
we'll
very
see.
much.
Thank
I
you
loved
very
it.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stop the recording.
Yep.